welcome to episode 150 million of GreenBean's Jets pod. Welcome to the toughest pod that I do all year long. Every year that I've done this now, this is the toughest one. And you want to know why? I'll tell you. Free agency. I'm going to be releasing this the morn of the legal illegality period in the NFL, where we allow people to sneak around and talk about stuff, but don't sign anything. Nope. You can't sign it yet, but you can talk about it, and we'll let you talk. We'll let you work it out like they haven't been talking. They say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't answer my phone. I have 26 minutes left until I'm allowed to speak with you. Baloney! But anyway, this pod gets released the morning of that period, the free agency period. Legal tampering starts today, if you're watching this today. And I'm talking about all this stuff that we're going to do that I want to see him do today. And it changes every 30 seconds. Like since I started this, the Chuck Clark thing happened, where he was one of the guys I was going to talk about. Why talk about that anymore? It happened. I was going to say, hey, you know what the Jets should do? They should bring Chuck Clark back. Yeah. And we did. So there you go. So I got to go. And I guarantee, man, some of the stuff I say today, I'm going to be editing it. I'm going to get this crap. Oh, the Jets decided not to do what GreenBean wants to do. That's what's going to happen, or vice versa. And I'm going to have to roll with it, man. But hey, it can be somewhat predictive, somewhat I get caught my pants down one side. I get caught being somewhat sage-tastic in another sense. But yeah, that's every year I go, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. So we'll talk about it today, man. It's going to be the free agency episode where it's like, we've heard all the noise. We see all this stuff happening. And we'll just kind of going into the day. It's an exciting day. We watch the Twitter bots. We watch that thing, and we look around Instagram. And we wait for news and all that. And you got all the IG Jets reporters, right? Breaking news, all that stuff. So it's like that's what we do. We watch and we wait and we hope. And this year is a very, very important year for the Jets. Because quite frankly, we didn't do what we needed to do last year. So in my opinion, the way that I see it is we kind of have 2 years of work to do, right? 2 years of work to do. Now, the good news is we have this defense, top three defense, that by and large is intact, right? For the most part is intact. We got our guys. We there's some moves we can make. There's some holes we got to fill, defensive tackle, namely. The larger portion of our elite level defense is intact. And we've been leaning on these guys for years with no real offensive help. So that's the good. Our special teams, as long as we re-sign Morstead and Zerline and maybe Hardy, if we can do that, which I think we should. I mean, Morstead's like, I want to stay right here. Why isn't he signed? I just don't understand. I don't understand. But I think we'll get it done. And we get those guys back. Our special teams are very, very good as well. So, and we have a Hall of Fame level quarterback coming back. We got Bryce Hall coming back. We have Garrett Wilson coming back. We got guys like Jeremy Ruckert, Tippmann coming back. AVT is going to be healthy again. So we have a nice foundation. So the Jets just have to do this work. Now, if we did some of this stuff last year, like grabbed an Anton Harrison or a Jackson Smith and Jigba or Addison or any of these guys, we could have did any of that and we'd have less to work on right now. We don't. We didn't. We're here. All right. So we have to look at this. So we'll go through. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to tell you what the Jets should do. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why they should do it. There's all kinds of feelings, and we get stars in our eyes. And look, I'm a Jets fan too. I've been here the whole time, and I know what we've done. I know what gets us excited. I know what gets me excited, and I know what hasn't worked, even if it gets me excited. You know what I mean? The stuff that you go, yeah, and it just doesn't work. Le'Veon Bell's a good one. Even though I didn't want Le'Veon Bell, when it happened, I was like, okay, good. He's a great player, very versatile, both the running game, passing game, arguably the best talent level that we've had at the position since Curtis Martin and all that. but I mean, it didn't even, outside of the first game, which was just so exciting. Wasn't that an exciting game? That we were 16 up, 16-0 over the Bills game one, and we lost. CJ Mosley gets hurt for the year. Sam Darnold gets mono, and that's what happened there. So, it didn't work. But everybody was excited about it. Lots of stuff like that has happened over the years. But we don't love to rely on free agency, but we got to do it. We got to do it this year. We have some very, very specific things to get done, and we have to get them done at all costs. Remain focused. Don't get deluded and crazy about morals and value. Get the job done. It's $10 more than I want to spend. We have a budget. Screw the budget. As long as you're not, spending $100 million a year on somebody ridiculous like that, just get it done. And let's go win some friggin' football games. Okay, that's what we got to do. So before we get that started, let's talk about the milk thumbs. Let's do that. Get me some likes, if you will. So vitally important. It's the lifeblood of the YouTube videos. If you can go ahead, be so kind, hit that like button for me, and that would be great. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for over here? I'm just sitting here waiting for your subs. Sub sandwich time. Hit that subscribe button, and that's how the channel grows. It is so appreciated, guys. I can't tell you everything we've been able to accomplish over the years. Just the fact that we hang out as much as we do, I love it. I'm eternally grateful and appreciative on a daily basis. I want to mention the Beanbaggers. You can join the Beanbaggers. Those guys, oh man, we're having some fun breaking down some prospects every Wednesday night. We have the Discord that we hang out on. They get the early release of the GreenBean's Jets pod and some other things. But it's a great hang with those guys. If you want to join in, the link is in the description of the video. Thank you for that support. It helps me a great deal to be able to continue to do this. Thanks to all my Beanbaggers. And guys, let's not forget about the Talking Jets right here. Look at this. Boom, look at that merch. I'm wearing all the new merch I got. I love it. The Talking Jets merch. We're having our draft party up there in Farmingdale, Long Island, April 25th, I think it is. Well, either way, it's the first day of the draft. Round one that Thursday night. We will be hanging out live. We will be online live like we do every year. Matt O'Leary, Ryan, and myself. But for the first time, we'll be hanging out with you guys. 3-hour open bar, 3-hour buffet. Live, giveaways, live crowd cams. We're giving away Tailgate Joe tailgating package. We're giving away Coaches Club seats. All kinds of fun stuff. Plus, everybody that comes gets their own event-specific t-shirt. Oh, it's going to be great. I can't wait to hang out with you guys. So that's going to be great. You can do that and buy your tickets to that event at talkingjets.com. The link to that is in the description of this video, and you can do that. Guys, I want to mention the world's greatest hydration multiplier, Liquid IV. That's right here, Liquid IV. You can save 15% on all of your Liquid IV purchases by using the promo code Jetsfan. That link to their site is in the description. They're adding new flavors, sugar-free flavors, energy drink multipliers. All that stuff is there on the site. I happen to like it a great deal too. It's really good. Get past the old buying the sugar water in the plastic bottle thing at the store and get with the real stuff. Liquid IV, 15% off. Green Bean Jets fan. Guys, here we go. Free agency. So let's start with this. We need offensive line help, and we need wide receiver help. We need some other things too. Some defensive tackle, maybe some safety help. But really what we're looking at, guys, if we only do two things this offseason and just figure out the rest as it comes, we fix this offensive line and we get some extra weapons in the wide receiver core, we're going to be okay. I want you to know it's going to be a good job. We will applaud. We got to get the right guys. We got to do this thing right. This time, it all hinges on this free agency period heading into the draft. So we saw something happen this weekend. The Denver Broncos traded a wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy, to the Cleveland Browns. I'll point something out. This is the third year in a row the Cleveland Browns chose to trade for their wide receiver. They went and they traded for Amari Cooper. Then last year they traded with us for Elijah Moore, and now they're going to get Jerry Jeudy. What a crazy collection of names they have over there. Here they go. They traded for Jerry Jeudy. They gave, what, a fifth and a sixth or a fourth and a fifth, I forget. But, dude, I'll tell you, over the last month, 2 months, Jets fans, for the most part, we haven't had any interest in Jerry Jeudy. No interest in Jerry Jeudy. Very little, if any. But we're mad at this for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's a really funny thing. The Jets Twitter place has blown up. We're fighting with each other. We're mad. We're mad. And I think we're really mad, not so much at the move itself, at the inaction. Why aren't we doing something? Why aren't we trading for someone? Why don't we do something, right? And I can understand that. I can appreciate that. But let's take a second. We're talking about these wide receivers, and we can start right there. Let's start with our wide receivers. What we should do in free agency. Currently, the Jets have Garrett Wilson. We love Garrett Wilson. He's our clear-cut number one wide receiver. We also have a guy named Allen Lazard, who, while not a number one wide receiver, was a pretty good signing, especially considering he played with Aaron Rodgers his entire career and that whole thing, just kind of keeping that going. He's a reliable guy that Aaron Rodgers trusts and all that. Big, strong blocker, all those things. When Aaron Rodgers went down, Allen Lazard and Zach Wilson did not necessarily work for us, and the guy needed to be benched, and he just sucked for us. There's hope for that re-engagement of the relationship of Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard. So we have him currently as our number two wide receiver. We got the little Gippy in Xavier Gibson. We have Jason Brownlee. We have, I always want to say Irv Eatman because we had Irv. Remember Irv Eatman, everybody? If you do, give me a fire emoji or something. Irv Charles, whose value is really coming out on special teams, kind of our number two guy on special teams behind Hardy. So that's a good thing. He'll definitely keep his roster spot, I would say, via that value. But as far as a wide receiver core, not really what you want to try to say you're going to win championships on the back of. And that, when you include our tight ends, Conklin and Ruckert, and hopefully Yeboah, I want to see the Jets re-sign Yeboah. But even collectively, that's, you need more. You need more punch. You need more guns here. And the Jets need to do something. So when you look at the guys that we're talking about out there, we had going into free agency, it was an exciting wide receiver class. You had Mike Evans, you had T. Higgins, you had Pittman, and all these. They've all been taken off the market. So we're left with the rest. Now, interestingly enough, a guy like myself still feels pretty good because while I would absolutely be excited about adding a Mike Evans to the mix, no issues there, I am a big fan of bringing on a guy who's still out there. Now, let's start with him, Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd spent his entire 8-year career with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, he's never been their number one wide receiver. Not an issue because we're not looking for a number one wide receiver, but he has managed to play behind true number ones. And initially it was A.J. Green. Last year, he had himself 67 receptions for 667 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? As wide receiver 3 behind T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. This is a guy who knows his role, has no real issue with being the number 2. He's not going to break the bank. He's looking at anywhere from $6 to $9 million a year. I don't know what you'll get him for. I would feel maybe the Jets have to pay a smidgen more. That's fine. Maybe somebody's offering him 7.5. You come in at 8.5 and you get him, that kind of a thing. But we're talking about Jerry Jeudy. We're being upset about this guy. Jerry Jeudy had 54 receptions for 758 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. As arguably wide receiver 1. They had Sutton and the whole thing. But, he's supposed to be a wide receiver 1. He had 54 receptions, 758 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd at wide receiver 3 had 67 receptions for 667 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we're talking about the same neighborhood here. Why are we upset over here and we don't want, and it's you're not going to have to give up any picks. The money's going to be fine. So that's the guy that I think the Jets should be priority 1 as far as the wide receiver position is concerned. You go right to Tyler Boyd. You go, dude, you're our number 1 guy. You're not a guy, oh, we missed out on this guy, so we want you. No, you're the guy we want. Here's $9 million. We'll give you a 3-year contract. You'll play with Aaron Rodgers as long as he's here. You'll be Garrett Wilson's number 2 guy. He can play the slot. He played, I think he was the second most slot snaps all last year for wide receivers. So he can play outside. He can play inside. He's versatile. He's got great hands. He's reliable. And the guy produces. Solid, dependable. That's what you're looking for. Make him know he's the guy we want. Now you got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, look, if they get him, they get him. I'm not going to be unhappy with adding a talent like Calvin Ridley, but he's looking in the neighborhood of anywhere from $17 to $20 million a year. That's the difference. We got our number 1 wide receiver. You have to figure out the money thing. We don't have $90 million to spend in free agency. You go get Tyler Boyd and you call it a day. Now, there's the talk about trading for Deontay Johnson. Hey, another great guy. I'd be happy with bringing him on. He's got 1 year left in his contract. He had 51 receptions last year for 700 and change. Good receiver. He's been very productive there. The relationship in Pittsburgh seems to be eroding, but we're going to have to give picks away. They're talking about maybe, I think Bleacher Report had a projected trade, a 5th and a 6th. A 4th and a 6th. Okay. Are you willing to do that for a guy like this? Sure. But Tyler Boyd outproduced him. You get no picks. So while I wouldn't dislike the move, I think it would be a nice aggressive move, get a guy if you really like him. But Tyler Boyd's in the same neighborhood. Again, no picks. Money makes sense. That's the guy I want to see brought in. There are a few other guys out there. You can go Kendrick Bourne. There's a few guys that you can grab that are going to be fine for the position. I think Tyler Boyd gives you the most bang for the buck. I'm really quite honestly disappointed in all the Jets fans that are telling me that he's unspectacular. Oh, that would be a loser move. What are you talking about? How do you not use 67 receptions for just under 700 yards and 2 TDs from your number 2 or 3 wide receiver? How is that an issue, everybody? Garrett Wilson gets himself 1,500 and you got your other guy getting you 7. I'm fine with that. I think that's good. So Tyler Boyd's the guy I think they should go get. Let's go right over to running back. We're going to have to go into free agency for the running back, unless you're going to go the rookie route again and mid-round, late round and just hope that he can do the thing, But they have to develop. A lot of the time we saw with Izzy, not really the impact that maybe we were hoping, but he's going into year 2. That's a positive, but we need somebody solid behind Bryce Hall. I think it makes all too much sense just to give Aaron Rodgers another one of his guys, go get A.J. Dillon and call it a day. Going into his 5th year, I think it is. He had 600 yards last year, a couple touchdowns. Perfect compliment. Aaron Rodgers knows him, loves him, trusts him, the whole thing. He also added 28 receptions last year, 43 receptions a year before with Aaron Rodgers. So he can catch the ball. Another option. It just makes too much sense to me. He's going to come aboard for probably $3-4 million a year. Get that one done and go from there. So you got the wide receiver in there, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Dillon. They come aboard. It's a wrap. Because here's the thing with going into the draft. You grab a Tyler Boyd, it doesn't preclude you from using your 3rd round pick on I'll just say it because I'm willing it into you. I want Malik Washington in the worst way. I think he'll be there in the 3rd at 72. He's going to go right in that neighborhood. You're just adding Tyler Boyd, A.J. Dillon, and Malik Washington to this mix with Garrett Wilson and everybody. We're talking about an entirely different dynamic. The dangerous aspect and lethality of our offense increases dramatically. And that's the way I think that they should go. Now let's go ahead and move into the offensive line. So many things to do. What are we going to do with AVT? They're talking about flexibility and all this jazz. Most Jets fans, I think, myself included, would love to just see AVT placed at left guard and figure it out. Just put Tippmann at center, AVT at left guard, and work around that dynamic. Are they gonna? I don't think so. I think that they already have AVT at tackle in their mind. If it's right tackle or left tackle is the only real question in my mind. I think only because we've seen him there more. Right tackle would make more sense, but I'm telling you, man, I got this sneaking suspicion that AVT's our left tackle. They'll still use the 10th pick on a left tackle behind him, but that's what I see for this year. I don't know why. Maybe they use it on a right tackle like a Fwanga, and that's how they go. Here's what I think they should do. Tyron Smith makes a ton of sense. Look, we don't love the idea that he hasn't finished a season or played a full season since 2015, but he's going to give you 10 plus games, 12, 13 games, and you can kind of, it sucks especially with the Jets' injury history. I mean, our luck is worse than the Cowboys' luck. Can we just say that together as friends? So they're getting 12 games. Who knows what the Jets will get? But he's younger than Dwayne Brown, and I think he's very, very good, top shelf offensive tackle when he's on the field, and you can have the guys, the Carter Warrens of the world, developing behind him, rookies and things like that. I think we should just go get him. That's what I think. They're looking at about his market value is in the area of $8 million a year, $9 million a year. I don't know if you can get him for that, but that sounds pretty good to me. Go ahead, just like you did with Tyler Boyd at wide receiver. You go and you tell Tyron Smith, you're our guy. We want you. You're the guy we want. You're going to protect Aaron Rodgers' blind side. You're the guy we want on our team. You make him feel valued, and you really put on the full court press. You bring those guys in. Tyron Smith at left tackle. But here's the thing. Again, I think they're going to use AVT at the right tackle position. I don't think they should. I think they should go out and get a Luminor. He's another guy that you can get for anywhere from $6 to $9 million. He's not made a big payday yet, and he's solid. He's very, very solid right tackle. You can have AVT. Look, you bring those two guys in. You got Tyron Smith at left tackle, Jermaine Luminor at right tackle. You got AVT at left guard. You got Tippmann at center. And then what do you need to do? Very, very simple. It's very, very simple. You got a couple choices that you can go get, but I think you go down to Miami and you steal Robert Hunt, 27-year-old right guard from the Miami Dolphins. He's going to get some money. He's going to get anywhere from, like 12 to $14 million a year. You give him a 4-year contract. He's 27 years old, and you just stick him in there, and you start to have this hope of developing a line that can be together for more than 3 weeks. You see what I mean? You weaken the Dolphins, you take the guy, and you strengthen yourself. So that would put our offensive line as this: Tyron Smith, AVT, Tippmann, Robert Hunt, Luminor, and then you can use your draft pick on whatever you want. I still think you should use it at tackle. And I know that, we had a discussion on the Talking Jets panel last week about, will the Jets really use their first-round pick on a guy that you're hoping would sit all year? Yeah, especially when one of those guys is Tyron Smith. And then another guy is AVT. So you definitely go out there and you just bolster that offensive line, all guns blazing, as many resources as you can, focused on the scourge of this team minus the quarterback position, and you embolden it. If a guy goes down, you don't have Xavier Newman coming in. All due respect, thanks for the service. Or Phil Hansen coming in. You don't have these guys coming in off the bench. You have somebody coming in that's now developing. That's, potentially the guy you want for your future. Let's say Tyron Smith gives you 8 games. Now you had 8 games for the guy to be working on your team. He comes in and he can finish the season, and you might just have your tackle for the future right from that point on. And that's a smarter play, in my opinion. If the Jets do this and then go get Brock Bowers, I'm going to be disappointed. Would I be excited about it? Of course. He's a good player. You get excited. You got to do what you do. At the same time, I would be disappointed. We need to bolster this offensive line. So again, what the Jets should do at free agency today: Tyron Smith right out of the gate for the offensive line. Robert Hunt right out of the gate for the offensive line. If you can get Zeitler, that's fine too. But I'm a big fan of the Robert Hunt move. Get him in there. Luminor for the right tackle, and call it a wrap. You can go get Donovan Smith from the Chiefs to be depth behind him at tackle. Not a guy I'd want to see starting. Mr. Holderton. It's not going to be like it's been on the Chiefs. You're going to get called for those holds every other play. But a guy playing depth, no problem. Jets fan, come cheap. That's fine if you want to do that. I like Carter Warren developing at the tackle position. We still have Max Mitchell and that. So I think we're good there. What do you think? Tyron Smith, AVT, Joe Tippmann, Robert Hunt, Jermaine Illuminor at the offensive line. You still draft a Fwanga or a Fatanu. You can trade back a little bit now. You got a little bit of breathing room. And if you really wanted to, and you saw the opportunity, somebody's sitting at 10 that's not supposed to be there, an Odunze or a Neighbors, which unlikely but could happen, and you want to take the swing there, then you can do that. You have at least the choice to do that if you do this in free agency. So there we go, man. Wide receiver, running back, offensive line. Now, is that so friggin' hard? Is that so hard, Joe Douglas? I mean, look, again, there's different options with this. You want to go Zeitler? Go Zeitler. You want to go Cushenberry and move Tippmann to guard? Get Cushenberry or Biadish. All guys, by the way, we were screaming for in the draft. We got ignored yet again. You can do that too. There are other ways to do this. Again, optimally, go make the guys that you want feel special. Let them know you're their priority or they're your priority. Tyler Boyd, just get him in here. Tyron Smith and Illuminor, get him in here. Robert Hunt, get him in here. And then we're talking about an entirely different dynamic. Now, how are we going to do all this on the offense? How? Well, we're going to have to restructure some guys. I don't know why we haven't done a little bit more work here. I'll just say it quickly. CJ Mosley's cap number has to come down. I'd love to see him extend a little bit. Just let him know you're going to finish your career as a New York Jet as our captain in the same way that Kyle Clifton did and Mo Lewis did and Marvin Jones did. You're just going to do that for us. And we're going to get your cap number down to about $10 million from the $21 million that it is now. I'd restructure JFM, keep him around. Why not? Who doesn't love JFM? Restructure DJ Reed, extend his ass, keep him around. Don't lose him next year. And you can also extend Conklin a little bit. You can get down to about, you can save about $3 million there, $9 million or so with JFM. You can get all their cap numbers down, get all that you need to get this free agent class done. Chuck Clark just re-signed, so that helps us with the safety position, and that'll lead us into the defense. Who should we bring in defensively? Do we need to go out there and get Fletcher Cox? Do we need to go out there and get one of these bigger named, older defensive tackles out there? Well, if we're gonna do that, here's the way I think we should handle that one. I got one name for you, in Javon Kinlaw. That's what we do. We go get Javon Kinlaw. He's young. He's relatively inexpensive, maybe $4 or $5 million a year. 25 tackles, 3.5 sacks from the interior position last year. And here's this one. You ready? He played 17 games. That's pretty good. Javon Kinlaw, if you're going to go out and sign a free agent, do that. Bring him in here. Al Woods, that whole thing, great. I thought he was playing well. He's old. You can't bring him back off the injury. Go get a young guy if you're going to do that, and just get Javon Kinlaw. But we got to re-sign guys like Solomon Thomas. I think we should re-sign Quentin Jefferson. They're not they're not overly expensive guys. Bring them in, keep the continuity, but if you're going to add one, Javon Kinlaw, and then you can wait till you get to the 6th round, and you can add some big fatties like Green Bean loves to do. That's where you find your space eaters. You don't need to use premium picks on space-eating guys up front, in my opinion. You can get the right guy, 340 plus, and just stick them in there and do the rotation. Fresh, young, fat legs. You know what I mean? Get him on in there in the 6th round. By the way, we got another one. We were talking about 3/7. I said it a million times. I thought the Jets were going to get at least a 6th out of one of the comp picks. It didn't look good for a while there. Turns out that one of them will be a 6th round pick. So there you go. We got 2 6ths now. That's exciting. And we can use them, or at least one, on a defensive tackle without issue. So, defense is good. Well, what else we got to do? Maybe some safety help? What are you going to do at safety? We just signed Chuck Clark. You got Tony Adams, right? We got to think about one other guy that it's been an interesting go with this fella, has it not? Mr. Ashton Davis. What an interesting guy he's been for us. We didn't want him in the first place. I did not want him in the draft. He's had some advantageous moments, but he didn't look all that good. And then all of a sudden last year he really played some good football and looks like he's coming around. I'm a fan of the Jets bringing him back. Again, continuity is king. And he's showing that he can come around. He also has special teams value. But man, I think Ashton Davis, Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, that's a great little crew. Would you want to add someone else to that mix? If you're gonna, why not go next door to the Giants and grab Xavier McKenna? Why not do that? He's going to be on the expensive side, but boy, oh boy, is he an exciting young player. They're looking at about $9 million per for him, something like that. Not cheap, not blowing your doors off, but I think at 24 years old, he's a guy, you give him a 4-year contract, you keep him around, add him to this defense, and it raises the play a bit. What did he have last year? He had 116 tackles and 3 picks from the strong safety position. I love it. I think that's a great guy to add. If you're going to do that, I'd be excited to add somebody of quality, of note, to that mix. So what are we looking like so far in this free agency piece? We added Tyler Boyd. Not bad. We added A.J. Dillon. Not bad. Aaron Rodgers' favorite. Good depth behind Bryce Hall, between him and Izzy. Perfect, in my opinion. We got Tyron Smith. You got Robert Hunt. And you got Jermaine Illuminor for the offensive line to add to ABT and Tippmann. We still got Wes Schweitzuck in there. And we have, obviously, Max Mitchell and Carter Warren and whoever the draft picks will be. I think we had 2 offensive linemen in this draft. Joe Douglas is not afraid to do that. He's done it before. He'll do it again, at least 2. So our offensive line is taken care of. What did we do on the defense? We added Javon Kinlaw. We added Xavier McKenna, maybe, but we kept Chuck Clark. We kept Ashton Davis, and things are looking pretty damn good. Now, let's talk briefly about some guys that I want to bring back. I mentioned Ashton Davis. I mentioned Quentin Jefferson. I mentioned Solomon Thomas. All right, I think those guys should be brought back. Unspectacular, not big moves, but totally solid team core foundational pieces I think should stay with the team. I mentioned it briefly before, but I think Kenny Yeboah has come around the mountain. You guys know I loved him coming out of school. He switched from wide receiver to tight end. I love that he stayed in college an extra year and went over to Ole Miss. Had himself a nice season there. Played for the Jets. Has been special teams. Did well on special teams. Was injured for the first portion of last year. And came in. And that last 4 or 5 game stretch, boy, oh boy. The only real question Kenny Yeboah had was whether or not he can be an inline tight end, whether he can take care of the blocking piece effectively enough. He was thunderously opening those holes for Bryce Hall to have that late season surge. Kenny Yeboah was a big part of that, guys. Big part of that. And I think you don't develop these guys. We're already looking at losing Bryce Huff, which, by the way, we're getting word that the Eagles are going to aggressively seek to add Bryce Huff while looking to get rid of guys that have been successful on their own team. I'm telling you right now, Bryce Huff is going to get more money than we think, and we're going to regret losing this guy. Total mismanaged by our general manager and staff, in my opinion. I would love to see Bryce Huff kept here. Looks like it's not going to happen, and you're going to see the value is a little bit more than maybe the $12 million that we're hearing, or $13 million. I think that's pish-posh baloney. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it. I think Bryce Huff's going to be able to see some numbers, and we're going to regret losing him. I don't want to see the same thing with another undrafted free agent that we developed for the past few years, Kenny Yeboah. He's finally looking like he's a player. Tight end 3, no problem. You're not going to find a better tight end 3, in my opinion. Don't waste another resource, another look, another draft pick. Then you got Kuntz, the perfect 10 RAS score sitting behind him. We got 4 tight ends. I love our tight end room. I'm good. And you know I'm Mr. Add a tight end. I think we're good. Conklin, Ruckert, Yeboah, Kuntz. don't need to look at it. It's that simple. Keep the team together. Here's another guy. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we're going to keep him. I really don't. I think we should. And that's Bryce Hall. I think Bryce Hall is going to go out there and get himself a starting job. And I think he should. I think, honest to God, he is a starting caliber cornerback in the NFL. He has played the good soldier. He's always the first inactive every week. When we needed him, when Sauce and DJ Reed went down, he came in, he played spectacularly, and then he's right back to being inactive. It's baloney. I think that he's been a nice guy as long as he's going to go out there. He's going to get his chance to start in the NFL. That said, I would love to see them just say, hey, we want to keep you. We'll move Brandon Echols to whatever you were, and then you're our guy. Give him a couple more years, but I don't see it. I'd love to see him retained. Who's Becton? Nope. Don't see it. I'd be fine signing back, but nope. I think Becton's going to go off and try to make his career elsewhere, and I think it's time. I do. Who else we have? Jordan Whitehead. Again, I mean, if they re-sign him, am I going to complain? Not necessarily. Continuity. He has had his moments. I'd love to see that upgraded. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to bring him back, and I don't think that they should bring him back. One more for you. Connor McGovern. What do you think? I don't want to bring him back to start. That's the thing. And I think that if you do, we have this conversation, this muddy water. You think Connor McGovern, you come back, same type of a contract, $2 million, whatever it might be, and you just play depth behind Tippmann. He's the new starter. He's the young buck. He's doing great, but we got you as depth. I would be very happy with Connor McGovern as depth. Whether or not they do, we'll see. I think it would be a smart move to do it. Again, I just don't want to see him brought in and be the starter, and then Tippmann's a guard. And I mean, I don't know. I think we can be a better offensive line than Connor McGovern being our starting center. That's my thought on the matter. So there we go. Now I'm gonna learn any minute that half the shit I'm talking about is already done or out or in or whatever. So we'll see how I do in just a few moments here. I think my team would be perfect. I think it's the way to do it. I would have no problem with a few other moves. Of course, there are other options, other variations. No matter how you slice it, we need to go hard and you need to go big in a couple of areas. Offensive line in particular. Go get Hunt. Go get Zeitler. Go get Tyron Smith. Go get Illuminor. Get these guys in here so we don't have to sweat it any longer. Let Aaron Rodgers know that we actually care about his body and his ability to be the success that we hope he can be here. And get him some weapons. Tyler Boyd, A.J. Dillon, Malik Washington in the draft. Boy, oh boy, are we a different team. And then we got Corey Davis. We'll see what the hell happens with that one. If Corey Davis comes, fantastic. I'm not counting on him. I don't think you can, obviously. But we'll see. But let me know what you think, guys. Before this whole thing gets started this morning, let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Am I dead smack on the bullseye? Let me know what you think. With that all said, guys, enjoy tampering period. Let's go into free agency, have ourselves a blast. Stop yelling at each other. We'll finally know what's going to happen, and we could be mad or happy about the actual truth. That'll be interesting. Guys, enjoy. I'll see you soon. Have a great day, and as always, go Jets.